Hey everyone, I'm so sorry we're late. We've just been trying to work out how we were going to start this today. I'm here with DFJ.
Hi.
So, hi Lara. Yeah, no, don't worry, we're late too. And we know you're really busy as well. So thank you for coming though. Right, so we've got quite a bit to talk about, haven't we? It's been a wild week, and I
Yeah.
think that's really dumbing it down.
Yeah. I mean, we thought last week was wild with James Vituska. The week before was wild. We had those two text messages that we still haven't figured out if they're Jen Abel and someone else or whatever. And then this week, oh my gosh, Perez got a huge win.
Yes. Yeah, that was amazing. I so should we start from like the beginning then? I guess. So we'll start with the prize thing because I think everyone is still on such a big high. I didn't even get to
Yes.
sleep last night. Like all kinds of weird things happened. I ended up on Popcorn Planet twice. Then I ended up accidentally going solo live, my first ever solo live. I didn't even realize I was live. Thought I was just doing like a quick recording to not like
Yeah.
to literally just to break the news of the judge's ruling on the jurisdiction thing with Perez. And I wasn't looking at the chat because I was kind of, like screen sharing and I was reading the document. And then I went back to the chat and suddenly 300 people there with questions. I was like, shit, what do I do? So I panicked. And then I felt terrible because I thought I was going to be so quick. I was going to be in and out. Like I hadn't said anything to my mods or anything. And I felt awful, but I had such amazing feedback of that live stream that I am going to be kind of implementing that now on Mondays and Wednesdays, because this case is getting a lot for one person to cover by themselves to
Mhm.
do both YouTube live streams and also go through the filings in the written form of on X. So I'm going to have to be more selective with my threads on X because they take so long. And
Yeah.
the filings are coming down now at a rate where 10 things could drop in the time it takes me to do one thread. And I do really detailed threads. I know you do as well, um, but it's a lot to keep
Yeah.
up with. And I'm wanting to kind of branch out as other cases I'm getting a bit interested in. I'd like to do concurrently, like Rebel Wilson and the Gillian Michaels stuff.
Oh yeah, and yesterday my cousin sent me the Cardi B
Yeah,
trial, and she's like, this seems like something that you'd be covering. And I was like, surprisingly not. I was like, normally yes. But I was like, I mean, and yesterday it was just so crazy with because I ended up going live for my first time ever.
I
And
know.
it was and by myself, and like it was definitely clunky. And I just have to say, like the supporters, like everyone who was in the chat was so nice. Everyone was just like, it's okay, stop saying sorry, because I kept feeling so bad. And they're like, no, it's okay. But it ended up working out. But I just yesterday was insane. It was everything was insane. And what's crazy too is
Yeah,
CJ. Gosh, I mean, we just cannot say enough good things about CJ. But originally, because I live closer to Vegas than CJ, and so we had talked about it, and I was thinking about going. It was a really long drive. It could be anywhere between like 6 and 8 hours, and
yeah,
especially in the Labor Day weekend traffic in the U.S. right now, it's a big holiday weekend, Labor Day weekend. So most people have today off and Monday off, and so all the traffic would have started yesterday. So, anyways,
yeah.
it would have been a lot for a 1-day trip. But CJ and I were talking about it, and then the next day, the next morning, she's like, okay, I booked my flight. I'm going. She's just like, I felt inspired. I feel like this is history. I have to go. And I was so, so like proud of her. Like I just like she literally brought me to tears. She did her thing. She's such a natural. And
Yeah.
she went out there, and I just, I love it. I cannot believe that, because honestly, if she wasn't there, I don't think, I mean, we did have Ari Jacobs too, who was there for
Yeah.
Popular Planet. So that was good. But, you know, CJ, she didn't mess around. She had a notebook. She had timestamps in her notebook. If you guys missed that, she had a live stream last night where she went back through like some of her notes and picked up on so many like nuances and just typical CJ, like very good attention to detail. And I was just so, yeah, but if we didn't have her in the courtroom, it's a federal court. And in the United States, there's no cameras in federal court. So the only information we would have gotten would have been just from Ari Jacobs, and there was like one or two other people who were in there, but you know, CJ was a rock star.
She was. It was such a big moment, actually. People have probably heard us say this story over and over again. We've now perfected the story of meeting each other. We followed each other. We were each other's first followers, pretty much, right at the beginning of all of this. I didn't even know how to put a thread together, and CJ helped me with that. I got quite emotional last night on my impromptu accidental live stream. I was kind of choking back tears. I was almost I was in tears actually when I first saw CJ live, and then when I was kind of retelling the story later on at night, I was kind of choking up a little bit. She is, she throughout this whole thing, she has been my closest, longest friend. We've been through a lot. People were actually, I had a few comments afterwards saying, you know, cause I was surprised. I wasn't expecting her to sort of go on camera. I know how nervous she was about that. But people were quite surprised that I hadn't, you know, that we hadn't been on camera behind the scenes or something, you know, and we weren't on, you know, we hadn't seen each other loads of times and so on and so forth. We have shared everything else. We have, you know, been through injury/surgery recoveries. We've had, you know, ups and downs. We've, you know, had all kinds of things. We've got an array of nicknames for each other. We know deeply personal stuff about each other, but we had never actually seen each other on camera. So it was like a huge moment. I know it sounds daft. I'm sure a lot of people felt like this as well, like to sort of see us step out of the shadows and, you know, how amazing she looked. But I was, for me, it was like it put a face to the voice I know so well. And it was just incredible. I was so proud of her, because I felt like, you know, like when I got subpoenaed, like, and there was all that kind of attention, and I never wish a subpoena on CJ at all, but
No.
I was like, oh, you know, she works just as hard, and I know this because we've done so much stuff together, so I know how hard she works. And, you know, I feel like, you know, she should be having her rising star moment, but I wouldn't want it to be fighting a subpoena. I was so glad it came in this form, though. It was perfect for her. Like, I agree with you. She was completely natural. She was made to be in front of a camera. She asked great questions. She was great at taking the notes. Very detailed. She's always detailed orientated, though. You only have to look at her threads. Mm-hmm. But I knew that if an opportunity came up like this, she would have jumped to that. I knew she would. So I'm glad the opportunity did come up.
Yeah, and it was so cool because I've been making these little like 1-minute clip remixes of like Perez's, you know, he reads his filings on his channel, like, and he'll give updates on his case. And so I would make like little remix clips, and then CJ always she would like play them on her morning streams. And she's always like, oh, it's so good. It's so good. And then the last one he did before the hearing, he was, you know, he was outside. He was taking a walk, and he told people to like get out of their comfort zone. And I made a little like remix clip of it. And I told her, I was like, I'm kind of nervous. This is the first time I've questioned my music choice because this time it's important. And she's like, no, it inspired me. She's like, this this like inspired me to like want to go. And then also like, you know, inner city press, she loves like how he reports outside the federal courthouse because there's no cameras, and she felt like he was inspiration. And Lauren Conlon, who did like the Diddy trial, like she's just, I think like it was just everything worked out, perfect timing. And get this, her flight home is on Tuesday night, so she's going to be there for the hearing on Tuesday at 1:30.
Oh yeah, she said, because I managed to. I mean, I wasn't expecting to get hold of her in all the hustle and bustle, but she did actually drop me a message back last night and then again this morning. So I have been kind of talking to her. And she did say that her flight back was on Tuesday, so she's going to be there for the Tuesday hearing, which is really good. I'm glad Perez is getting that support as well.
Mm-hmm.
I still managed to, like, you know, I still managed to kind of do join her in a sense in the end because I had a 3-minute notice message from Andy on Popcorn Planet. It was like, oh, can you join me? So I was like, okay then. So I went and joined him, and we talked a little bit about Perez had just come out the court at that point, and he was looking very defeated. And we talked about, you know, what could happen. Would him having a lawyer have made a difference, and all those kind of questions. But then I had notification that an order had dropped through from Judge Lyman on the jurisdiction issue. And I straight away messaged CJ. I was like, oh my God, CJ, you got to tell Perez this.
Yeah.
But then I messaged Andy, and, you know, he was sort of like, well, what does this mean? I said, well, it means Lyman has conceded he's got no jurisdiction over Perez. He was like, are you going live? I'm going live. Do you want to join me? I was like, come on, let's go. So I ended up on Popcorn Planet.
Did he go live again yesterday? Because I only saw so did he have like a second live?
Yeah, well, I don't know if he did it as a live. He just sent me another link. I assumed it was live because it was a breaking news.
Yeah, that's pretty breaking news. And like, I remember when we were talking about this this hearing, I think it was last week I think it was last week or the week before. And I said that I was like, do you think it'll be different now with that he'll rule in Perez's favor? Because like the judges have to have like some sort of like decorum with each other. Like this is with his peers. He can't act all biased, you know, with his peers. Like it's different in his own courtroom, how he just kind of is like dismissive of Wayfair and is clearly, in my opinion, clearly biased. But like when it comes to like dealing with like his peers and these other federal judges, and I remember asking, I was like, do you think it'll be different? And we said maybe. So I always thought like this was gonna go in Perez's favor. I didn't expect the wait time, you know, how it was gonna get like deferred. But then I understood it afterwards, like when I was hearing more of like CJ's notes, you know, how like it would have been the dual jurisdiction. So if they had both said they had jurisdiction, he would have been exposed to both jurisdictions, and then that would have been a lot. And then I loved it because apparently her lawyer, Meryl or whatever her name is, I guess, was kind of like trying to almost like pull a fast one on this judge and said something about like blah, blah, blah in the other court. And he's like, I've been in touch with Judge Lyman in the other court about this case. And I thought that was really cool. But so I guess they had been talking about this, which makes sense now why, because this was like a 7-page ruling that dropped. And, you know, with Lyman, I mean, that's a lot for him. And so I just feel like he had been holding on to this maybe for like as long as possible.
Well, he
did it within that hour.
I mean, I went over this last night. It's a 7-page ruling. It's not just a 7-page ruling. It's a 7-page ruling that's absolutely packed with case law.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of research has gone into this. This is not a 5-minute job, and he is not, because I went. I'm nothing if not thorough. So I went through the metadata because the court filings have their own metadata. And I went through the metadata of when this was added to the docket. And it was 2.5 hours after the hearing. And I think it's a stretch to write an order, a 7-page order of this much detail, because he really did get into detail. in just 2.5 hours. I don't think that's happened myself. So I think he's had it ready to go. He may have had a second version of it where he granted the motion to compel and decided he did have jurisdiction. And I think that he may have had a conversation with the judge from Nevada after the hearing, and he's made his decision based on, some feedback basically of how the hearing went, what happened. But it's not unusual, especially with federal courts, because they are cross state. So it's perfectly normal for the judges to be speaking to each other about case where there's like a mutual kind of like a common interest.
Yeah,
because
totally.
the subpoena does affect Judge Lyman's case, so
Yeah,
they will be in touch. They will be talking, and you'd expect that you'd want it as well.
And it makes sense because do you remember when he said something? Remember when he told Perez like he had to respond to Lively? He had also mentioned in that like he was aware that Perez did not notify Lively's team properly in the Nevada court. And we're like, how did he know that? Like, we know he's not researching. And so that makes sense. It's like, okay, they have been, they've been communicating since back then even. And now it makes sense how the timing of all these things played out. But I definitely think, I don't know. I definitely think Lyman was holding on to this until the last minute.
And that's fair. That's fair because he's got to make the right decision. We might not always like the decisions, and regardless of whether you think that Lyman's being biased, whether he's not, whether he's corrupt, people have different opinions on how far on the scale he is on that. But all judges, they make decisions we don't always agree with, but they have to. I think the reason he has spent time, the reason this is a 7-page decision with all that case law, is because he's given Lively an opportunity to come back. It's on a without prejudice basis. However, the way Lyman has written this, it makes it, in my view, I think it's going to be almost impossible for Lively to find an argument that she's not already tried to bring him back. Does that make sense?
Kind of. Wait, so to not bring, what do you mean to not bring him back?
Oh, because so the motion, so it was a motion to compel, Lively's motion to compel Perez. Yeah. That was the decision, that's the order.
Yes.
He's denied it on the grounds of lack of jurisdiction. Mm-hmm. But he has denied it without prejudice, which means Lively can refile. But
there's no jurisdiction.
Yeah, but she can then try another argument, like she's done with Jed Wallace. Yeah. So
that she's tried, but like.
But I think the reason he has really, because he's gone over absolutely everything with Perez, and he has packed it with full of case law, and I think it's going to make it almost impossible for Lively to find something else that she has not already tried to argue that New York does have jurisdiction over Perez. I think the judge has done that quite deliberately. So it looks like he's given to Lively with the one hand, i.e. the without prejudice. Oh, hey, yes, you can refile. But then on the other hand, the argument he's made, the time he's taken to write the order, I think he's blocked off all possible realms of what Lively could try to argue. I will be interested to see if she tries it again.
Yeah, and I think also he had to do it like that, right, so that she could file in other jurisdictions.
Yeah, right? Well, she can't though. Well, with Jed Wallace or with Perez?
With Perez, I mean, basically, the jurisdiction now is Nevada, and her lawyers are so desperate to have it not be Nevada that they literally cited the filing where you could like get notified electronically. It's like a little 1-page thing, and you sign it saying that you're willing to get notified by the court electronically. And then he had to like put his name, and then for the address he put like a PO box of like his old business or something in Los Angeles. They were trying to use that to say that his jurisdiction is not Nevada. He's like, are you kidding me? They are so desperate.
Oh yeah, no, she really does scrape the barrel. But again, we've seen her do the same with Jed Wallace, with putting Instagram posts up and, oh, I was interviewed on a New York news station. It's just really stupid arguments that will fail. They will. I think this Sandy B, sometimes I think the judge rules the way he does, so he doesn't have to deal with Blake Lively lawyers team after the fact through appeal. And I think that's part of this is, if he's going to deny her something, I think the judge feels like he has to really stick his neck out to make sure that his legal reasoning for his decisions is absolutely spot on and unappealable.
Well,
I think he's done that here.
Well, sometimes people, I mean, this is a different way that I've heard it said, because most of the time people are like, oh, he just gives Lively whatever she wants so that like she can't appeal. And I was like, well, first of all, she can't appeal. And second of all, if he cared about appeals, then he wouldn't have just recklessly dismissed Wayfarer's counterclaims, because those are easily could get appealed. So I don't think he cares about appeal. That's why I still think he's biased. But maybe specifically he doesn't want to deal with Blake Lively's team again. I mean, that's a different angle, but I think he likes her team. That's what it seems. They've been in front of him a lot. So
yes, they have. I mean, we don't know how often Fritz is, because Fritz is from New York, so he will have come face to face as well with Lyman, I'm sure. We don't really know how often that's happened. I feel a definite sense that Friedman and Lyman, they kind of rub each other up the wrong way. But there should still be professionalism, around that. There should not be rulings out of spite. And I'm not really thinking that's the case. I think the judges just. I think I'm inclined to agree with you. I think he's a lean towards Lively type person, but he does when he does get the ruling right, he does it in style, and he definitely did that last night. Well, yesterday.
And also, yesterday we found out that Megyn Kelly had been subpoenaed, and it was just like the perfect storm, because like that got picked up, and it was the same day as his hearing, and so that it just gave this was so big. There was he couldn't do anything tricky about it. It was like, she doesn't have jurisdiction. This is BS. Like, just for the love of God, just do the right thing. And he did. And he can't, I think he did because he had to. And this is also, he had to have respect for the other judge. And, they had to do what was in what was best for the law. They had to uphold the law. And so he had someone else holding him accountable. That's just my opinion.
I don't know. I'm on the fence a little bit about that. And I'm not saying I disagree with that. But I'm a little bit, because I've had a few people say to me, "Oh, well, he was backed into a corner." No, he wasn't actually, because the Nevada judge practically opened the door and invited him to, to rule that he had jurisdiction, because the Nevada judge was prepared to, it was literally, well, would let Lyman decide and then take it from there. So Lyman was given the lead over the say on how this was going to go. He was not backed into a corner. He could have chosen to have jurisdiction, and there would be no controversy about it, because the Nevada judge had said, it's up to you. You decide.
Yeah, I think they were just. I think when he had another judge, they had to kind of communicate and figure this out together. I just felt like someone was holding him accountable. So they were going to do the right thing in the name of the law. That was just my opinion. I still, in my opinion, I still think Lyman's awful. And I can say that because I'm never going to be, I'm never going to have to deal with him. But Yeah, I was so happy, honest, like so happy for Perez. And Tuesday, I think he has a really good chance of beating this. And the judge did tell him like what he has to do to prepare for Tuesday. Like he has to he's going to have to make sure that he lets the judge know what the burden is going to be to respond to what she's asking and the time frame and,
Mm.
and his arguments against it, just he kind of is. I said this the last stream we were on too, because remember, you're like, I was like, I think this judge likes him. And I felt that right away when he ruled so quickly, or when he set the hearing so quickly after Perez, responded to the opposition to his motion to quash, and
Yeah.
how when he didn't properly serve the other Lively's team, how the judge like told him what to do and was nice about it. Unlike, Lyman, who was just, a jerk to everyone, or like the whole thing, like that some people like forget is the whole reason Perez filed his protective order in New York, which is what like Lively was saying was why he like opened himself up to jurisdiction there. But the whole reason he did it was so that he wouldn't get doxxed, so that like, because for all these like third parties non-parties that had been subpoenaed, they had been getting their information had been getting exposed. So he like put an order out, and actually Lyman acknowledged that, not entirely, but he said, he acknowledged the abuse of subpoenas, because he said that the motion seeks only the prospective relief of preventing Lively from issuing further subpoenas to non-parties without leave of court. So like, at least like, Lyman kind of acknowledged that people do not think that she should be able to be issuing subpoenas out rampantly like this. And he needs to kind of, ring that in, which he won't, because now, of course, we heard she subpoenaed Friedman's private investigator.
Oh yeah, don't worry, I've got that. I've got all that ready to go as well. Gigi's asking, would she have to refile in Nevada to re-argue jurisdiction? No, because Judge Lyman has denied the motion to compel in New York. So she would refile that motion to compel in New York in front of Lyman. But she's got to have something different, something more, because her arguments have failed. I'm scouring the chat as well for any questions. A lot of people are talking about his moustache. I just want to let's just cover quickly the moustache. I'm not the biggest fan of a moustache. I will say that. Yeah, I am not, and I do think Perez looked incredible with a clean shaven face, or with like an all round stubble. But that's a personal preference. I don't like moustaches on anyone.
I didn't even notice he had a mustache.
Have you not noticed how he's?
I didn't notice.
It's like a proper. It's almost like a bit of a handle. He looks like a 70s porn star.
Well, it's Las Vegas, so
so anything can happen.
Okay, yeah, I see it now, because I posted a photo of CJ and Perez when they were on live stream, because I was like, they were stressing me out, because I was like,
get in the room.
You guys are outside at 12. Like, stop talking, get inside. Because like I was like, and plus, CJ and the public has to go through 2 security checks. So they like made me so nervous. Like my OCD totally kicked in, because I was like, I don't want you guys to be late. But they were all casual and everyone got in and it was all fine. So
Annie, I don't know what a 70s porn star looks like. I wasn't even born in the 70s, but it's what you imagine.
Yeah, but according to, like, again, CJ just had amazing notes, and she said the judge gave Perez his flowers and was like, I respect. Yeah. She said it twice last night. Of course, I'm going to forget what the exact words were, but it was like, I respect and appreciate your research or your knowledge of the law or something. And so, I mean, to say to a pro se litigant, I think that's a pretty big compliment. And and Ari Jacobs also was saying how she felt like the judge was really, he seemed to understand what was going on here, and seemed very
they do give, because it's obviously pro se. Over here it's called litigants in person. They are given grace. They're at a disadvantage. They don't know the law. For whatever reason, whether they choose not to have a lawyer, whether they can't afford a lawyer, whether they can't find one, There are many reasons why people represent themselves. Not all of it is by choice, and the judges do rightfully give a bit of grace to try and balance that sort of power dynamic. Like if you can you imagine, someone like me, I spent years in university, 7 years in university, nearly 20 years working for various law firms, in-house counsel, so on and so forth, right? Trying to argue the law, which is my backyard anyway, against someone who has never studied it, never worked in it, never been in the environment, does not understand the etiquette, how to read and understand the statute books, the cases. There's a huge difference in in the advantage that obviously having a lawyer would give you, and try and compensate that, because they've got to, otherwise it is unfair.
Oh yeah, there's definitely leeway with pro se litigants, and I mean, in the U.S., we just had that trial with Lori. Oh my God, Lori Daybell. And she represented herself, and she definitely had pushed the limit, almost opened the door, I don't know, hundreds of times. And the judge was so patient, and they have to give leeway, and it sucks for counsel because they have to put up with this. But it could test their patience. And before that, there was another famous one with Daryl Brooks, and the patience of that judge was out of this world. And I found out afterwards she was pregnant or something. So that was crazy. So definitely, there is leeway, but we saw the difference with Lyman in New York, for example, when Cassidy wanted to file anonymously, and he's said something well, we'll not, he was so rude about it. And and I just felt this person's a non-party subpoenaed, trying to get her motion in before her information gets given.
I know, and then you've got to give your personal details to file a motion to say, I want to,
be anonymous.
Yeah. It was absolutely, I mean, I talk about this so much, but I honestly cannot overemphasize the hoops we jump through to try and preserve as much of the anonymity of the people who are already operating under pseudonyms. People like myself and Cassidy. Lauren, her name is out there. Ashley, her name is out there. They obviously then didn't want their addresses, which is quite rightly so. So they had to sort out we call them PO boxes over there. It's is it a care of type?
Yeah, we have PO boxes. I think
PO boxes over there.
So Kim's got one because she's the single mom from Kansas, and she's I don't want you all knowing where I live.
But that's absolutely fair. That's absolutely right. As long as it's somewhere that can be identified, it should be absolutely fine. I remember because I was in a chat. We were in a group chat. And I was talking to it was Ashley, Lauren, and Cassidy, and Cassidy had done the manager upgrade, had promoted one of her team to a manager to sort of have them accept the service of the subpoena and respond. And I was like, oh my God, what am I going to do? And I was like, I can't file anything. I don't know what to do here. And then Lauren was like, I wish I could just change my name. And honest to God, it was hold on a minute, I can do that. 10 minutes later, I'd done it. It was as simple as that. But, I had to pay a fee for it. It's the inconvenience of having to do it. I don't think that the rules should be like that, because what I did notice is Cassidy filed stuff and asked for it to be redacted. She asked for it to be anonymized, and it got put on the docket anyway.
Exactly. And we have seen that the whole time. So that's why I think, Perez was I kind of called him the sassy, canary in the coal mine type thing, where he was the only one really like allowed to be saying some things he was saying. I mean, you guys all did too in your protective orders and motions for sanctions, like said your pieces too, but like, Perez did it his way, where he was given a warning by the judge, but it worked because it put more attention on it. And and now like Blake Lively's lawyers are there's more attention to like how reckless they've been with other people's addresses and information, in my opinion. So I look forward to seeing them get their butt kicked in Nevada, because there's no getting past that Nevada shield law. It is one of the strongest shield laws. It's an absolute shield law. Like, there's no exception to it. Like, it doesn't matter. If he's digital, if he's a blogger, there's nothing they can do. Like, and they were so desperate. They brought up something that like CJ and I were going to get into it. We're going to do a stream on it, I think tomorrow, she said, or the next day. We're going to go into this thing that they were arguing of, saying like in 2004, they wanted to write like a supplemental brief about in 2014, how the blogger and digital journalists like weren't going to be added to the law. And it's like, okay, but it was, and it is. So I don't know what you're trying to do, but like, to argue he's not a journalist in this state, you're going to lose. And then you're so desperate, you want to like say an address of a PO box of like his company's like is going to change the jurisdiction. It's not. Like, you're going to lose. So I don't know. You can pay as much as you want to have this, like these fancy lawyers from DC come in, and their Nevada lawyer used to be the president of the Nevada State Bar. So they're like, she's like has the best she can get, but they're going to lose. I'm looking forward to that on Tuesday.
Oh yeah, no, I absolutely can't wait. Hopefully, I mean, this will be going on for a while, but I mean, hopefully, Perez will get a resolution once and for all on Tuesday. Ideally, it would be that the subpoena will be quashed, but he has not won that battle. He has won the right to have the motion to quash heard in Nevada. So, and that was a big victory in itself. But, we do have to remember that the subpoena is still there. It hasn't been quashed. And the judge, I've learned one thing in dealing with this case is what I think should happen does not always happen. Mm-hmm. In fact, more often than not, it hasn't happened.
Yeah.
So I take nothing for granted. The judge could actually find a reason to deny the motion to quash. That is possible. And I think managing expectations is quite key to helping people preserve their mental health with this case, because this is a hard case to follow with all the filings, everything that's going on, and all the disappointment that seems to come from the various rulings and the behavior of the opposition and so on and so forth. So I don't want to sit here and kind of think how I'd rather
want to get people's hopes up.
This is not a done deal yet.
No, it's not. But in my opinion, even
it's a strong case.
Yeah, he has a strong case. But okay, so let's say even if worst case scenario that he doesn't get the motion to quash granted, he still wins, in my opinion, no matter what happens. Like, he's won, and she's not going to get anything. And also, here's the other thing. So 2 nights ago now, remember Lyman ruled that on Blake Lively's motion to compel of Wayfarer, basically just giving them everything they asked for up to February of this year. Like regarding their communications, like with any like agent, this is like all has to go back to her stupid smear campaign. But what it did is that like it's making it so that they don't have to get this information from non-parties. So it helped Perez and it helped Andy's in Florida, I think, because now there's nothing. There's nothing that they can get from Perez and Andy that allegedly they can't get from the people that she's claiming are paying for this non-existent smear campaign. And by the way, like Perez, she really wants to say Perez ran a smear campaign. It would have been the worst smear campaign in history because he was on her side like after the New York Times hit piece.
I know. I remember that as well. I mean, the truth of it is, right? I'm gonna have a moment of. I'm gonna get on my soapbox now, right? She is alleging that she's suffered a retaliation campaign for speaking out about sexual harassment.
Mm-hmm.
That has happened in this case, right? In this case, there has absolutely been retaliation for speaking out about experiences of sexual harassment. It's just not been hers. It has been mine. It has been Lauren's. It has been Cassidy's. It has been Leslie G. It has been a number of other people who, when we sat on our channels and said, look, we're not happy with the way the movie was marketed. We're not happy with how all this happened. We're not happy about how Blake Lively behaved, how her husband behaved. We all got subpoenaed. If that's not retaliation for speaking out about sexual harassment, because when we were saying what we were saying on our channel, we were specifically referring to our personal experiences of sexual harassment, domestic violence, in Lauren's case, being falsely accused as well. So, and we were all hit with subpoenas. That's just my 2 pence worth.
Yeah, that is true. That is very true. The only, she wants to say like the only bullying, it's just crazy. She wants to claim that she's bullying other people. And then to say when her team was trying to argue that like Wayfair subpoenaing Isabel, whatever her name was, Isabella.
I can't say her name properly.
Yeah. So like that, it was like her harassing or Wayfair harassing her. And it's just like, are you kidding me? She was like an actual witness to this. Like your team subpoenaed 107 non-parties who have nothing to do with this and harassed them and for having an opinion about a movie and the promotion of it, of domestic violence. Like you can't make this up. Like, it's, yeah. And I think that also kind of, I mean, I don't know if it will really help, but for Perez, it's like, it kind of helps his argument that he has, because I counted 8. I don't know if there's more, but I thought there was 8 like protective orders and motions for sanctions from non-parties that have been subpoenaed by her. So, and they all like kind of had the same arguments about this. So I was like, that just goes to bolster his position more. But I mean, he's got the law down, and he cited, I actually have it here. He cited a lot of good case law, and again, Nevada shield law, they don't play. So
no, exactly.
And it's so funny because I guess according to CJ, like the judge said that he had like Tuesday or Wednesday open, and her lawyer said something like, oh, with the holiday weekend, Wednesday would be better. And he's like, okay, Tuesday, 1:30. And so I love it. Like, and I just, I'm like, God, I wonder how much this like cost Lively, what the bill was for this, this hearing and the hearing on Tuesday is going to be, I'm sure they charge extra for like holiday hours. That's crazy.
Yeah. Absolutely. And to send 3 lawyers. I mean, because when I was dealing with them, when we were all dealing with them actually, for our own subpoenas, and we were emailing them, they're like in the chain. There wouldn't just be one lawyer, nominated to respond. There would be 4 of them. Yeah. And they were all partners, all of them. Like, and if I'm sure most people know, but you've got different levels of a lawyer depending on whether you're like a trainee, whether you're, you're fully qualified, but you've got like limited experience. You might be like an associate. Then there's ranks of seniority, and then partner is right at the top. All 4 lawyers who were in the emails going back and forth, pro se. The content creators who were trying to, to deal with their own subpoenas on a pro se basis, there were 4 lawyers in those in the email threads.
Yeah, and that's insane. And then ACC said, that was funny. They also tried saying the burden would be too much to come back on a Tuesday because of the holiday. Yeah, they're burdened. Meanwhile, they're trying to like get Perez to argue that he should have jurisdiction in New York, like as if that wouldn't be a burden. It's just, they're so, I don't know. They're just like CJ said, they had word salad, and the judge just wasn't buying what they were selling, and to like argue things like it was a burden for them. Get out of here with that. She can send another lawyer if it's a burden. Although, we'll see.
So I'm gonna quickly pop into. I'm just making sure I'm in the right one here. If not, I'll have to move. So we've just had Judge Lyman's issued a court order on the Wallace motion to compel.
What?
Again, yeah, it's granted in part, denied in part. It's another 7-page order.
How long?
7-page.
Oh my God.
So I haven't gone through it all. So I'm literally reading this in kind of real time.
Okay.
And he's not right. Okay, so Wallace defendants argue that Lively's motion is untimely. The judge says that argument is without merit. The reason for that is the court's July 15th order applied motions to compel party document production. So that's fair. Before the time ran out, the judge did kind of address motions to compel party document production. So technically, the judge is saying here that the Lively's motion is not out of time. And I think that's kind of fair. I'm skimming over the most of this. I will do a proper thread at some point, but right. I think Wallace also argued that on July 25th they were not parties, so they did not have the obligations of a party to complete document production. And judges come back and said, well, no, that's right, but it would have just frustrated for the purposes of the court's order for Lively to have filed a motion to compel on. Sorry, my voice is still a bit funny. To have filed a motion to compel on August the 1st when the Wallace defendants were not parties until July 30th. Right. Okay. Let's see what he's saying.
That was a funny email. I remember reading that, and Jed's lawyer was like, "We're not responding to this request since we're no longer parties to this case as of this morning." And then they were like still hassling, and they're like, "Well, they still have to, after whatever, after we file, you're still gonna have to pick up from where we left off for this."
But they did have a heads up that she would be refiling. That was the whole reason why her deposition was moved. So I know Friedman said, I'll refile some of the claims that were dismissed, and then he didn't. But in fairness, there was that whole hearing on moving Lively's deposition to a different date to facilitate the fact that that she'd have to file a second amended to bring Jed Wallace back in time for the deposition to take place and for him to be able to participate. So, I think when it comes to, was there something tangible there that Lively, that Jed Wallace should have relied upon, that he was definitely going to be pulled back into this? I think so. So interrogatory numbers 13 and 14. Interrogatory number 13, identify all former or current clients for whom you've performed similar services to, for or on behalf of Wayfarer defendant Friedman or his firm, or anyone acting on their behalf. And interrogatory 14, identify all employees, associates, or subcontractors who have performed services for you since May the 1st, 2020. So what's the judge say? I'm just trying to get to the point. Right. So yes, he's granted the motion to compel for interrogatories
Oh
number
my
34.
God. So, okay, wait. 13, to identify all clients
All
who,
clients
while
and
it's street relations, did similar social media
yeah.
manipulation PR work. Okay. But
So these two
Wallace
here.
he didn't do it though.
No, and she's a legend. So these two here, interrogatories number 13 and 14. So that's identify all former or current clients who you have performed services similar to those provided to. So these are not people that are necessarily associated with Friedman, with Wayfarer, or anything like that, but it's the people, the former clients or current clients that he has performed similar services for. I'm not sure why this is relevant to her claims. I'm really not, but
No, so they're basically forcing him to give up his work that he's done for other clients, and it has nothing to do with this. And because she hasn't even proven he's done anything for this, so it's absolutely
and the information from this proves nothing.
no.
It does not prove her claims, even if he has used services to smear someone else. It does not prove that he is part of a smear campaign against her. There has to be a causation link, not a coincidence.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, and what they said because I started reading Lively's, motion to compel, and it's so much garbage. I could only get past like 2 pages, but one of the first things they try to hit with is like, Jed Wallace said that we're killing it on Reddit, and that must mean that he's like manipulating Reddit. I was like, or it means that the public is killing, like the public response, they're just killing it on Reddit, so like we don't have to do anything because you guys are killing it anyways, like organically. And so it could be read either way. And I don't think Lyman even understands social media like well enough to understand that. But at least, I mean, he denied the Signal. I guess the other one is the Signal chats, because Lively couldn't even prove they existed, because you can't really prove that Signal chats exist when like they disappear.
Exactly.
I mean, it's just ridiculous.
Jeanette, yes, this date, so the 18th of February date does apply to, it applies to Lively, what she can discover from anyone, unless the judge rules differently or issues an order saying something different, then the cutoff for discovery is 18th of February, because that was granted the other day, and thank God for that. I'm looking for. We're now getting some questions.
Oh, good.
I want to answer this though. I think this is a very important question. Did anyone wish Blake a happy birthday? No, but we all congratulated Taylor Swift on her engagement.
Yay! Yes, I know. I'm so happy for them. And apparently, they had gotten engaged like 2 weeks before that. So
I did read that.
It was just, she kind of had control of when they were going to announce it, and happy effing birthday, Blake.
So in interrogatory number 14, just to reiterate, that's identifying all employees, associates, or subcontractors who have performed services for you since May the 1st, 2020. I don't, May 2020.
I mean,
film.
Yeah.
Who was smearing her back in 2020? Apart from herself.
Yeah. I liked in their opposition that there was like some footnote where they were just like saying that how Lively is putting him in this SH complaint, and they're like, how could he SH her when he's never physically met her in their entire lives?
Yeah.
Like easily, and they're just like pointing out this whole thing is so stupid. God, like. I can't believe he's granting all this stuff. Is this so that he can use this in granting the motion to dismiss? I mean, when is he going to rule on that?
I don't know. It is up to him, really.
Yeah, but there has to be like a cut.
No. There is no deadline for him for this. He can take his time, and he will take his time, especially with a motion to dismiss, because before you dismiss a party from a lawsuit, you have to make absolutely sure they should not be there. So There will be motions where he will rule very quickly, but a motion to dismiss is not one of them.
Well, okay, so she had to establish jurisdiction. And so even like right here, I'm not going to say this right, SGAX said, is this jurisdiction? No, that's the whole thing. It's like, why does what Jed Wallace, he's done with former clients, how is that discovery going to help her establish jurisdiction? That for, what is it, New York, Blue Jeans Baby, New York Lady or whatever, like, that's where she's at.
I could argue that that's got UK jurisdiction because it's an Elton John song. You know, like, that's lively. I call it lively logic when it's just ridiculous. That to me is lively logic. You know, it was composed by a British singer. Does that mean that the UK has jurisdiction over Jed Wallace?
It just, that's where she was at and in her arguments, and so it kills me because like this is so above and beyond. I think that, like, okay, so she's saying she now needs this discovery to establish jurisdiction. I mean, what are we doing here? Like, this, just let him out of this case so they can just argue it out in Texas already.
No. SGAX. Sorry, I don't know how to say either. No, this is a motion to compel discovery. So no, it's not. I gotta put this one up from Annie. She's living La Vida Loca, but she's not Ricky Martin.
Yeah, it's insane that they're letting this still go on like this.
So he did deny the signals communication for the fact that they don't exist, and Lively has not sufficiently demonstrated a basis for discovery on discovery. What? Right. Okay. Yeah. So he's denied her request for the signal communications.
Yeah, because they don't exist.
No, I know they don't exist, and you can't compel someone to produce something that they don't have.
This was a good question by Leah P. I don't know. Or she said, Lyman made it sound like both parties were doxing. I thought that was rich. You're right. That is rich.
No, exactly. I'm just right. Third Lively documents from July 1st, 2024 to present. So she's asked for communications from the 1st of July 2024 to present. He does actually say here, we've addressed the relevant discovery time frame in its order of the other day, which directed the Wayfarer parties to produce responsive documents and communications through February 18th. And I knew it was there somewhere. So the same reasoning and result applies here. So yes, to people who are asking, will that February 18th date apply across the board? Here it is. It is literally being applied, which is great. And this will also apply to Perez and Andy. You know, even if they lose their motion to quash and they have to produce, it will be limited now to February the 18th and not past that, unless the judge orders like a supplemental order. Right. So finally, we got requests 10 and 11. Let's see what these are. So,
okay, here's another question real quick. Wait, from Max. He says, why does the judge get to make this ruling when Jed Wallace has requested dismissal again? Good question.
Because he hasn't been dismissed, and until he is dismissed, they're both entitled to file motions, have them fully briefed, and have them decided upon. Until he's dismissed, he is still a party. That's not. I know people aren't going to believe me here, but that's not the judge being a dick. That's just the rules.
I mean, he's going to let her do this discovery because now he's gets dragged back into this until he makes a ruling to dismiss him.
Yeah.
This is funny. I hadn't seen this. This says, oh my God, Perez wrote in your face.
I just literally pulled it up.
Okay, so I saw he was going to go live and I put the notifications on and I must not have gotten it. I don't know. It's a Friday. Everything's been crazy, but basically calling them losers. Oh, I can't wait to watch that. Why did he do that? I mean, you don't have to give a spoiler.
We have to see the context there.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, right, and I will say this, I love Perez, and I really do love Perez. And I know he loves me because he said so on a live stream. But I love him being his authentic self, no problem. But obviously he's already been told to calm down a bit with how he words things. I think at the moment he's on a roll, so I don't know what the context is. Yeah, I'm curious.
Yeah.
But if it's in the right context, then fine, no problem.
I don't think he's gonna I don't think he's gonna
I don't think he's gonna calm down, but
make things bad at this point. He was so excited about.
Yeah, it's just I would not be upholding my own kind of ethics and values that I subscribe to if I did not say I recommend doing this and not doing that.
Oh yeah,
but he is absolutely free to do it, and I'll be his biggest cheerleader. I got no problem with that.
Mm-hmm.
If it was me, I would not be doing that. But that's because I have a professional standard to maintain. Even though I'm never going to be in front of Judge Lyman, technically I'm doing this in the public domain. So,
Joe said that he called the judge sexy again. Oh no.
Oh God.
Perez, what are you doing? But it's just an email, so it's not a filing. But they're going to put it in the filing. But now at least it's not going to be in New York. It'll be in Nevada. But still, come on. Well, I have to see the context, but just.
Okay, so this is interesting. So these requests here, 10 and 11. Request 10. Documents including formal or informal engagement agreements sufficient to show when and in what capacity the Wallace defendants worked with Friedman and his firm, or anyone acting on their behalf, and in what capacity, e.g. the nature of the engagement and what any Wallace defendant was retained to do. Request 10. All documents and communications between you, any Wayfarer defendant, Brian Friedman, his firm, or anyone acting on their behalf from December the 1st, 2023, which again was before she was on the movie. It was before she was on the movie. Yeah, she was brought on December the 31st, 20.
They asked her that in the part of the deposition that was revealed. Like, when were you, right? Like, when were you hired for this movie?
It was. Oh, was it? Oh, was it? No, she was on at that point, wasn't she?
I don't know, but I think like.
Yeah, no, they'd filmed in, because the quote-unquote sexual harassment, which I'm still yet to see any evidence of, allegedly happened in June 2023. So this is before she came back on, just before the penthouse meeting and all that. So that's an odd date, but okay. But again, Jed Wallace was nowhere near this date either. But what Lyman is saying is Wallace has not provided a position regarding these requests, and he has got to provide a response to the requests no later than September the 5th. So for these two, he hasn't provided a response. He's not responded to the request, and the judge is saying, well, I can't rule on it, so you've got until the 5th of September to provide a response for me to make a decision. So there we go. That's that court filing. I'm a bit annoyed. I wish the judge hadn't ordered the whole, give us all your client details and everything.
I know. I think that's so out of line for this. And like, especially when he gave Lively a second chance, told her exactly what to do to establish jurisdiction. She didn't do it. And now he's letting her I just feel like it's like an abuse of the court system, really. Like,
exactly.
It just seems so wrong.
Thank you, Sudhi. Yeah, so filming did start May 2023, and Katie of Arc says she was hired around December 2022, January 2023. Yeah, so it was December 31st, 2022. I couldn't remember if it was 2022 or 2023.
But they said that he's done similar work for it. What if like all of his work is like customized, like contracts?
Well,
like this.
I would think it is customized.
Yeah.
Like my dad works in technology, right? Firstly, people are making a big thing about the the invoices he was sending, you know, like the estimates he was given for all the work, the various packages. Those kind of prices in IT, specialist IT services, are actually not ridiculous at all. They're within quite a reasonable price frame, given that these are obviously A-list clients, and I think they upped the cost because they felt there was some risk from like a Taylor Swift backlash or something like that. You know, I can't remember what it was. Blake Lively would release the Taylor Swift
The
army.
Swifties.
Yeah. So they anticipated a bit of an extra risk and added a bit more for that. Well, that's fair enough. When you're working in, you know, social media and computing, these are fair things to charge for. But his bills were not ridiculous. People were making such a thing of £90,000. Actually, that's reasonable because it will be some kind of specialist skill, right? And here's the thing. It's like a doctor, right? You pay a doctor. If a doctor is on call at night, yeah, you're still paying him. The fact that it's never happens these days. You know, if they're on call, they're normally called out. But if he manages to go the whole night not being called out to an emergency, you're still going to pay him because he was prepared to get up and, you know, do what was needed and go into work. And that's the whole point of being on call.
Yeah.
Is you hope you don't need them, but if you do, they're there ready to do whatever it is, and they still get paid. You don't turn around and say, well, we didn't need you, so we're not going to pay you. And that's what's happened here. Is he's still entitled to be paid despite the fact that he did not have to do the work in the end.
Yeah, and you have to give him credit because he told them, like, you guys don't have to do anything.
Yeah,
like,
he was telling them that.
He could have been like, oh my God, like, you know, this is all for me and like you guys should keep me on. And he could have made another 30 grand going for it. And he's like, this is like, you don't have to do anything. Like this is like, people are on your side and they're seeing the truth because of her. So
yeah, and I found that quite a compelling thing, actually, because you know, you're right. He could have fudged that and said, "Oh my God, this is a complete disaster. I'm going to have to sell you my next package up. You know, this is going to cost you an extra 20 grand for my time every month." He didn't do any of that. He was completely and utterly honest with, you know, well, I don't need to do this and I don't need to do that, and you know, things are kind of taking care of themselves organically. You know, yay, we don't have to do anything. But the guy still has a contract for his services, and that, you know, he's entitled to be paid for it. I think the messages definitely prove, like you say, he's either lying and saying everything's fine, and he's doing nothing for his money, or, you know, he's incredibly honest with Wayfarer in messages that they never thought would be seen by the public.
Yeah.
And I think it's the latter. I think he's being very honest.
So he was only on from like August to November. So that's like before she came out publicly about the SH. So, I mean, I know she was on the CRD, but that was like wasn't that from in December, the date on that? Yeah. So like, how can she say what he's doing is retaliatory? You know, it doesn't make sense.
Well, yeah, we're all there. Not one of us thinks that she is making any sense.
But, you know, because she's saying, okay, that he was still on afterwards because like he was on a group text when they were talking about the lawsuit.
Yeah, like, they've been brought back in.
Yeah, but it's like he wasn't hired after November.
Yeah, he wasn't hired, right? But at the same time, he's now lumped in with them on, you know, they would have had summons. They've been issued, served with court papers. Everyone's being sued. They're all in the New York Times together. What happens when a group of people experience the same thing at the same time?
Yeah,
I can tell you what happened because it's just happened to us.
Exactly.
And a bunch of us got subpoenaed. We all ended up in group chats. We, you know, like talking amongst each other. Right? Oh God, what are we going to do? How are we going to approach this? You know, Oh,
Yeah.
have you seen this? Have any of you had meeting compares? Has anyone seen this, latest filing from Ezra? So we were talking about the whole thing because we were all going through it together, and that's what happens. These things bring you together. That is not evidence of collusion. The content creators were already good friends. Some of us may have been in like little groups and things before because we've collaborated on stuff together or whatever.
I love what Megyn Kelly said, like in her rant. I mean, I love the whole rant. If I was in this lawsuit, I would just like type that up and the whole thing and put it in somehow into every filing going forward. But she said, she's like, you think that I would have taken like Justin Baldoni's money to say things about you, Blake? She's like, I hate you all on my own, and this is why. And she's like, and I have the money to fight it, and I have the money to keep talking about you. And
she has. And do you know who got her that money? Brian Friedman.
Yeah, Brian Friedman. Exactly.
It was something like in the range of 60 million.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Yeah. I mean, and yeah. So I guess they subpoenaed her company, not her directly. It was like, but it is her.
Yeah, it would make sense if it was her company because she was asking for. They were asking. As I listen to what she wrote, so they do. The kind of the envelopes with all the documents and everything. And she said she had the 3 lawyers on. And she said, well, when we got dealing with legal stuff, we give copies of all of this to the lawyers as well.
Yeah.
To go through. And she was saying they were trying to get all of the plans and the drafts for the shows and things. So it does sound like it was her company.
Well, but then so I guess she filed a motion. What that would have been in like, I can't find that if she did file it.
No, I'm going to look for that actually.
Yeah, it's Devil May Care Media, because that's what they put in the Deadline article was the name of the company. Because I tried looking it up and I didn't see it. Because then I guess like Lively's team didn't respond on time, and that's why it went away. But I was like, that's pretty interesting. And then they tried to like deny it in the media. It's just, this is such a mess. Like, this is so crazy. And we were already like an hour and a half. I want to make sure we get to the subpoena of Brian Friedman, Private Investigator. I cannot believe this. So you read it.
Can't either. I'm going to just quickly say, right, from my professional experience, law firms, it sounds sketchy, right? Oh, well, they're subpoenaing a private investigator that Brian Friedman hired. That sounds like, a guy in a Mac with a, like looking like Inspector Gadget has been, following Blake Lively with his binoculars and looking at her through bushes. It sounds so sketchy the way it's been put. It's not. Law firms use private investigator firms all the time, right? We heavily rely on them actually.
Yeah.
You've got to find people who have, like especially in criminal, you're needing to find witnesses. You're needing to find people who, for debt collection purposes. There are, or the trustees of estates and so on and so, beneficiaries of wills. There are so many reasons why we use them, and they're all perfectly fair. And I can't believe she's done this. And more to the point, someone said to me on my ex, I can't remember who it was, and I don't know if they'd want me to name them anyway, but someone put when I did my thread, because I done my thread on this, and someone sort of replied and said, well, next they're going to be subpoenaing the guy who services Brian Friedman's car.
No, that's seriously.
And that's where we are actually heading.
No, that's where we are now. Like, this is what does this have to do with the smear campaign? What she thinks that like the private investigators are involved now? It's like I don't even know this. And this is in California, which I feel like we've seen 2 other out of state or like subpoenas in this case that have been like in a different state, and they have been in California. And besides the one that Perez had in Nevada, but the ones in California, they always kick it to like a magistrate judge. And those judges, according to me, they suck. So I hope they don't do that here, but that's why I really like respected the Nevada judge, because like even though he did assign a magistrate judge, that was just to oversee things on the docket, but like he himself oversaw the rulings, and he was so good. Ugh, I love that Nevada judge. But here, I wonder, do we already know who's the judge on this one? I actually have that.
Probably. I'll
find it on the docket.
Oh no, it's to be assigned.
Figure.
It hasn't been assigned to a judge yet.
Okay.
So I think I'm gonna use the thread. The reason is because
oh my God, no, we do have it.
We do have it. Go on.
Oh my God, you guys. So it was assigned to the magistrate judge that oversaw the one for Friedman's subpoena of his law firm. Joel Richland, the one he's like Joel 2 years Richland. In, he was terrible. He was like, oh my God, how did they?
Well, we'll next cover this again, right? When it's in New York.
Yeah, this is going to New York, you guys. Sorry, but this judge sucks.
So I figured to save time, because I've obviously been through all this. This is like 34 pages. I've already been through it, and I've kind of highlighted some bits I thought were kind of important. Are you okay to do that, just to save a bit of time?
Yeah. Let's do it.
Cool. So I don't often use my thing is colored hearts. I rarely use the red heart for these things. So when I do, it's like, red heart, red flag. I was curious by the wording of this in this first sentence. So Lively, the wording is, right, on December 31st, 2024, Miss Lively initiated litigation in the Southern District of New York. So that's obviously this lawsuit. In connection with sexual harassment she and others experienced. Now, I know that she can't bring a claim. She can't sue on behalf of other people. The same way we couldn't quash subpoenas that weren't directed at us. And I know she kind of referenced, this person told me that they felt uncomfortable. Or Isabella Ferrer, she wasn't even on the set with her, but she was referencing, well, I was told, which is hearsay, by the way. I was told that Justin Baldoni whispered something in their ear. So here she is stating as a fact in this filing that her filing the lawsuit is in connection with sexual harassment that she and others experienced whilst filming the movie, and the subsequent retaliation designed to, quote unquote, bury her for speaking out. That was my first, wow, okay.
Yeah, they're going to just say whatever they said last time that worked on this idiot magistrate judge.
Well, exactly. And they do this, and I notice they do this because obviously I look at all the dockets. They do it in the Texas one with Jed Wallace, right? What they file, when they tell them the story of this is what happened on the set, what they say in New York is different to what they say in Texas. It is, because Wayfarer are not in Texas. They're not there to sit there and go, that did not happen. Jed Wallace can't, because he was not on the film set ever. So he can't deny it. And the allegations, they go from, in New York, they are, Miss Lively was nearly nude, to in Texas, it's the birth scene has become a gratuitous nudity scene. Miss Lively was nude in stirrups. That is literally what she said. And the whole thing becomes more sensationalized. And when I think I don't understand why she's doing it, because when you're like me, when you're sitting there and you're looking at the two complaints, and the one thing I love doing is sitting and doing a side by side, a compare and contrast, and I have done it a number of times. It's wildly different, and I'm hoping that someone will bring that into New York, or it will make its appearance probably at the trial, actually, for impeachment purposes.
And I bet that was maybe brought up in the deposition, some of the questions to try to figure out what her story is. Like, what happened in the birthing scene?
Yeah. Okay, can we just get the footage and settle the dispute once and for all? And you know why a lot of people will ask me, why have they not just released the footage? they've not released it because it was filmed behind in a closed set. So I think it would be distasteful to release it publicly.
But we already know.
It would put Wayfair at the mercy of Lively and her lawyers as well. Like, oh my God, look, even if she did have the shorts and everything on, the fact is she's alleging she was uncomfortable.
Yeah, and she's already changed her story, so we can already guess that it didn't happen the way she originally said it in Texas.
The guy who was right there with his face, as close as it gets, has literally come away and said, well, no, she could actually wear whatever she wanted. She was comfortable. Everything was professional. So, and he's the one guy who is being smeared, being indirectly accused of sexual harassment himself, yet he's not in this lawsuit, which frustrates me. We got to, so untraceable. We are moving on from the untraceable campaign now. Now in here, in yellow, it says Miss Lively has issued substantial discovery, and I put in brackets emphasis on the substantial.
Yeah, right.
The content creators' subpoenas.
Oh my
God. To uncover the tracks of this, and it's quoted here, no fingerprints. So now we are moving on from untraceable campaign. And I put a bit of snark. No fingerprints, no teeth. This is starting to sound like a crime scene report. Yeah, so we now have a no fingerprints campaign.
Yeah, of course, Ezra is the one who filed this. So.
Is she?
Well, I mean, that's what it says. I haven't seen the...
Oh. I mean, I would not be surprised, but... where is that? Because I thought it was... No, I thought it was Gottlieb. Why did I think it was Gottlieb? I may be wrong, but...
Because it sounds whiny.
No, it was Ezra. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. What was it? I was reading something that had Gottlieb on it for some reason.
They kind of sound like each other sometimes, but the way that she just does not care about twisting the truth, it just...
No. So Lively says that because Sourced Intelligence is the PI firm, by the way, because they were instructed by Friedman's firm to run reports in connection with the litigation, and their website advertises sub-services, which include, quote unquote now, digital erasure, reputation management, etc., then they have discovery that is relevant to her claims. We will find out in a bit what digital erasure and reputation management mean.
Wait, this is really funny from Joe. He said, but didn't she produce the movie? Wasn't she also wardrobe department head? This was a movie. Why would she be nude?
I know.
She was expecting for a real...
Did she blow the budget on her nudity?
Well, this is so funny. He's like, this was a movie. Why would she be nude? Was she expecting for a real baby to come out? Like, be for real.
Oh, that's awesome. Didn't Melissa Nathan use that term, no fingerprints? It was either Melissa Nathan or like one of the tag people.
Like she did it in...
It's just a throwaway comment.
Yeah, it was just like a throwaway to try to sell Jed Wallace, like on Wayfair, like this is a good, like this will be good for, crisis PR to add on to our team.
Lara, are you all right? Are you back in?
Her chat for us.
That happened the other day. She was just sat there on her own whilst we were, I don't know what happened, but like there was a parallel chat for my live stream where Lara wasn't there, but we all were.
Wow.
It was weird. But I've had that as well, where I've kind of left the live stream, gone back, and it's like, I'm like, where's the live stream gone? I can't get into a live stream. What's going on? Lara, we can see you. Can you see the chat now? Sorry, guys. I just want to make sure everything's fine for my moderator. Yes, Christina, she did think she was alone.
Oh no.
I know. I shouldn't. It's not. I wasn't laughing, but yeah. Yeah, we were literally just talking about it happening to you the other day. But I take it everything's all good now. You can see everyone again.
Yeah, I think she can see us.
I'm assuming so, because
yeah, she can see us. Okay.
Oh, fabulous. Yeah, no, I'm not gonna. I would never replace Lara in Nightbot. Never. I would be lost without Lara. I really would. I would be lost without Lara and Christina.
Yeah, all is good.
Well, really hold me together.
Yeah, no, they're the best. Seriously. Yeah, shout out to Lara and Christina. You know, probably because she manages a few different channels. And maybe the YouTube was like YouTube like algorithm was like overloaded or something.
Right, so where were we? So now we're in pink. And again, everyone, I am kind of just skimming this to get through it quite quickly, but to get to sort of pertinent and the snarky points. So in pink, Lively predictably wants the subpoena transferred to New York for Lyman to rule on it. I did make a little comment here as well. She obviously, this was filed. When was this filed? On the 22nd. I wonder if she still feels that way after the judge's ruling with Perez.
If she still feels like what?
Like she wants this subpoena to come to New York.
Oh.
Because the judge said no. But well, also, even though the...
I'm just going to say, this judge is not calling Lyman. This magistrate judge idiot, he...
Oh, no, he's just gift wrapping it.
Yeah, he's like, whoa, like he said
like, this is some flowers.
Yeah, and I've seen that he's brand new. I cannot believe that 2 of these like subpoena went to him. How is that possible?
Oh, it may have been luck. It may not be.
Yeah, luck in quotation marks.
And actually, I mean, it's a good job we kind of spotted that actually, because she does try to argue, well, you know, this court dealt with the Friedman firm subpoena and that got transferred, and they do actually differentiate between the cases in this document. So I will get to that.
They used the Friedman.
They did
in Perez in the hearing.
I know.
Like, I was like, you're quoting Richland as like for case law, this like brand new green magistrate judge who was like, this is overwhelming. Like, this is a lot. Like, we're sending that away. And you're trying to use that as a like to quote for like Bulware, who's been seated since like 2013. Like, no, this is not going to work. So
no, exactly. And I'll tell you what, I mean, because Friedman is obviously the counsel for this. Friedman's firm is the counsel for this PI company, right?
This feels rigged.
They do actually make a really compelling case. I enjoyed that bit actually, and I can't wait to get to that. But so obviously she wants us to go to New York.
Mm-hmm.
Let's not forget, sorry. Let's not forget, right? Even though we were all frustrated and we're rolling our eyes when the Friedman subpoena did get transferred, a fair amount of it was, you know, she was denied it.
Yeah, but the judge, I mean, he took forever and had to have like a hearing on it. And
I know that's not unreasonable. I mean, I don't like the fact that, and I really kind of kicked up a sting and said, oh my God, I can't believe they're doing this. This is, you know, ridiculous. But if you're going to, because obviously then, just because it's not been done before, does not mean you cannot set a precedent. And if the judge is considering something where he sets a precedent, holding a hearing is something that he absolutely should do. And I think that hearing went quite well for Wayfarer, because in that hearing, they kind of said, well, look, we're prepared to do this anyway, so that bit's moot. But then the rest got denied. So it all kind of worked out. Friedman's firm ended up handing over what they were prepared to hand over anyway, and then didn't have to hand over the rest. It worked out okay in the end.
These people have nothing to do with this.
No, I know. I know, but she's alleging, I'm not saying it's the right thing to mind, but she is alleging that Friedman was part of the smear campaign. Can I see a lawyer doing that? I would be incredibly surprised. I would be surprised, but there are things, some of the communications where I sit and I question it a little bit. Not that he was part of a smear campaign, obviously, but because I don't think there was a smear campaign. But what, like, when did he get involved? There is some, I've seen some communication say July 2024, not July, August 2024. Then July, James Bautista said something about, or Leslie Sloan said something about it. But then I've seen others saying, well, he was involved, but he wasn't formally instructed until December 2024. And it's like, there are some other stuff as well where email chains where both of Friedman's sons, now one of which you could say that's fair because it's regarding the website building,
Mm-hmm.
they're in the thread. One of them is doing a master's in computers and IT. The other one, no, I'm not sure, but also it's not a common thing to be bringing in experts who are your own family. I will say that.
I've seen it.
I've seen it, but it's not a common thing. So I don't know, but we carry on. We carry on. So in Orange. So this is sourced intelligent now or responding. This is a joint stipulation. So Lively puts across her argument, then they counter that point, and then they get to the next point, Lively puts across her, and that's how they go through this document. So this is a combination of responses from both Lively and the PI company. And this is their response to the points Lively's just made. In Orange, Source Intelligence alleged that Lively is using a third-party subpoena to invade, their words, attorney-client privilege and work product, and thinks that this is okay for her to do simply because she alleges the smear campaign as ongoing. And I get that feeling, I do, that because she's saying, well, I think it's ongoing, that she is hoping, although it's just been closed off, but she was hoping for never-ending discovery, which is ridiculous. I mean, surely no one really thinks that, the smear campaign is ongoing and they're doing it blatantly in front of the judge whilst they're going through litigation to defend themselves. Come on.
I know. And like, you can't file a lawsuit if it didn't happen already. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
No, exactly. Isn't she alleging some of this is because she filed the lawsuit? Or I don't know. Just this whole ongoing thing. Everything's a joke. But then when you ask her about it, she doesn't know about it. She just knows what people tell her about it. And that she's not on social media.
Yeah. No, exactly. As two lawyers are right, discovery is the most boring part of the lawsuit. It goes on for a long time. You spend a lot of time bickering and arguing over things, even semantics like the meaning of the word you. It really is tedious and time consuming. Annie, are the Wayfarer parties allowed to produce the proverbial smoking gun they hinted at after the discovery depositions are over? Are we talking, I'm assuming we're talking about Taylor Swift, possibly. They can't just drop things on the docket. It's got to be brought in the correct way. So they've got to find a way to get it in. I'm not sure how they'll do that because, we're not seeing the discussions that are going on about that. But I'm hoping we'll learn a little bit more as more stuff hits the docket. The problem is at this stage, right, where the stuff that's hitting the docket is coming at a rapid pace. It's hard to keep up with it. And it's getting increasingly redacted. Or there's a bunch of stuff put on the docket which is sealed, so you can't go into it. And then it gets unsealed, and then you're like, where in these 800 entries is it? So it can be quite confusing to navigate. Okay.
This is crazy. I mean, I can't believe it. Like, this is definitely going to New York. What a bummer. I mean, what are the odds of that?
50-50.
No, I know that this is the same magistrate judge. Like, they couldn't.
Yeah, I mean, we're judging that guy, though, to be fair, on one hearing. And one thing I will say is
Oh, I'm judging him on more than that. I read the Lululemon stuff because he's also overseeing the Lululemon versus Costco. Oh my God. I'm so glad I read that lawsuit. I got like the best Lululemon knockoffs from Costco because, like, especially the jacket, so nice.
Yeah.
It's like exactly almost the same thing. But Lululemon didn't invent it, and I call them Lululemon now. But the judge there, he's also, I mean, he's so new. He's so, I'm very disappointed.
Making his name. That's what he's doing.
Yeah.
Yeah. But we, like if I'm just looking at the context of this lawsuit and the related kind of various dockets that are open as a result, and this guy so far has sat in on another subpoena, and he's made a decision on that, and I didn't love it, but it's, for me personally, just because of my experience and knowing how these things work, it's not enough for me to say, oh, he's definitely going to do this, because we don't know.
Yeah, I mean, at least like this is a little bit different in a way. It's not like Friedman was, well, I still thought that was obnoxious, like, subpoena the opposing party during the case, but fine. Let's put that aside. But this is like his like someone he's employed, he employs for his company. It's like it's ridiculous. Exactly like you said. They might as well just like subpoena his electrician next, the like internet service provider. The
well, yeah, they mean they will potentially his internet service provider.
Well, yeah, that's
they're trying to get his bank.
Or like, they're gonna just like subpoena like the cleaning lady, like they're just gonna subpoena anyone that he hires ever.
Yeah, the doctor that delivered his sons. Yeah, it's going to be ridiculous. His dog.
Yeah.
I completely agree with you. The one thing I will say that was different about I think they've learned from this experience as well is what was different was over the issue, the argument of the transfer. And I said this in my thread at the time. And when the decision to transfer came about, I also reiterated it too. My feeling was as Blake Lively made quite an argument for the transfer. Wayfarer, Liner, Friedman's firm, really did not attack it hard enough. They didn't. I think they got a bit complacent there, and they attacked the actual merits of the subpoena, but they didn't really even address it. If I remember correctly, they didn't even address the transfer other than to say we don't consent to it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that.
So
think that they had to.
Yes, and I think they've learned from that because they've addressed it here. And bear in mind, this is the same law firm that's drafted this filing, has done their own subpoena. So they have definitely learned something. I mean, here in Green, so this is still the PI firm. They are claiming that Lively's asserting that they quote unquote may be a Wayfarer agent that is participating in an ongoing retaliation campaign. They also state that they have advised Lively that their services that were provided to Freeman and Wayfarer do not carry out any of the work that could be construed as part of a retaliation campaign, but Lively does not believe them. Where am I? All right, so Blue. So Lively makes her argument for the subpoena to be transferred to New York, and she's basically copied and pasted it from the Friedman subpoena. It is almost word for word, especially the bits I've actually highlighted. Lyman knows the case. He's ruled on several other motions. His knowledge of the issues underlying the subpoena are critical, etc., etc. This is entirely copied and pasted from the Liner subpoena argument for transfer. Right, here in purple. So we're back to Lively. She's arguing that the PI firm state that they should not be required to provide Lively with a privilege log. They've said, well, we're not going to provide you with a privilege log. Their reasoning is when you write down, that basically everything is privileged because of the point in time when they were hired, the nature of the work, and the fact they never even spoke to Wayfarer directly. They only dealt with Friedman and his firm. So they're saying everything is attorney-client privilege and is work product. And I would agree with that. I completely and utterly agree with that logic. It applied in the Edgeware subpoena for Stephanie Jones. When you do a privilege log, you've got to explain why it's privileged. And that's fine if some documents are privileged but others aren't, and you're a certain privilege over certain documents. You've got to say, well, this is privileged because. But doing that, you're giving up information. Like the reasons that you put down for that privilege should apply can reveal the nature of the documents in themselves and give away a bit of, more information than is required or than you want. So they're saying, we're not going to give you this privilege log. Lively is saying, well, I want the privilege log. She is saying, well, the information that I've received is vague, it's uninformative, and none of its representations have been made under oath. A privilege log is made under oath. So she's not happy. I think some of that might be a fair argument, but we will see. I'm just looking at the chat, sorry. Right. Okay, thanks, Lara. Bye, Khaleesi. Thank you. Right, so then we move on to the next bit, which is here in yellow. So now this is the PI firm arguing back. And basically what they're saying is private investigation firms are used by law firms routinely, which is completely true. So that's all right.
So what do you think is going to happen?
Well, I don't know. Well, I think the argument they make to separate why the Friedman firm one was transferred versus what's different about this that it shouldn't be, I think that kind of will sell it. So the PI firm comes, I'm really condensing this, but so the PI firm comes back and states that they were only engaged after the filing of Lively's complaint. Now, we know from Judge Lyman that she's allowed discovery up to the 18th of February. So that's going to become a bit of a moot point. Potentially. That depends if privilege is allowed. If privilege isn't allowed, then they're going to have to produce. Their work was limited to background information regarding certain individuals who would have knowledge of Lively's claims, and they only communicated with Wayfarer's counsel and not Wayfarer themselves, which is really important. So this is important. Now we're going to learn what did those terms mean. What was it? Digital erasure, web monitoring, etc., etc. So the PI firm claimed that Lively is misconstruing their services. Big surprise. And they give a couple of examples. Digital erasure, that sounds like you're trying to, I don't know, hide someone or get rid of someone, take them down digitally. What it actually means in terms of the services that they provide is the removal of personal identifying information such as address, phone number, etc., from the public domain. So if something is out there and it's got your personal information, your home address, or you want to get rid of it, this company helps you with that.
Seems like good.
Exactly. I mean, they need this for the docket as well. But
Yeah.
it's not the digital erasure that as Lively is portraying it to be, right? They also state that their services facilitate clients to monitor their own digital presence on the internet. Not that they track and trace and all this stuff. They help clients to like monitor their own digital presence on the internet. In the footnote, they allege that Lively has cherry-picked buzzwords from their website to imply a sinister intent behind them that does not exist. So we've got a little bit here in green. Source intelligence state that Lively's demand that they prepare a privilege log does not agree with federal law, and they are right. This is not the scenario where the federal law supports a privilege log. Blue. So here we are. We're talking now. What's the difference between the Friedman subpoena and this subpoena? Why was one transferred? What's the difference between that makes it that the other one shouldn't be? Source intelligence state that, and bearing in mind, this is Friedman who is writing this, not him personally, but his firm. Source intelligence state that although Lively references the decision to transfer the Lara subpoena from California to New York to justify transferring this subpoena, they distinguish between the two cases because it was deemed that there was no burden to Friedman's firm as they were counsel on record. So they were part of in the lawsuit itself. They weren't a party, but they were actively participating in the lawsuit, and they had a New York office. Source intelligence state that their situation is different because they would be burdened. They are not part of the litigation, and they do not have an office in New York. I think that's a really good rationale to go with.
Yeah.
Purple. So, I like this. I just highlighted this because of this quote. This quote is amazing. I want it printed on T-shirts. Source intelligence says they basically accuse Lively of engaging in a fishing expedition without any basis other than speculation. And she actually stated that she needs the documents to discover whether source intelligence activities match the conduct alleged in Lively complaint. So she's not saying, I know something's happened here. She's saying, I think something's happened here. I need discovery now to find out if I'm right. And that's not how that works. So they put a quote in here, which is, one would hope Lively's lawsuit had a basis in fact prior to making allegations and then conducting discovery in the hope that documents she receives in discovery would match the allegations. Apparently, Lively now seeks to invade the attorney-client privilege and work product doctrine in the hope of finding evidence to match her allegations. And I think that quote just summed up how I feel about all of the discovery that's happened so far. I think that's exactly what's going on. I think I was in Ashley's chat earlier, and Ashley was asking me about this, and she was like, what do you think? So I was like, well, personally, I think she's just, going on a fishing expedition. She's got nothing. I think she's just hoping that she finds a lucky subpoena.
That she lands a lucky subpoena?
That she finds one, a lucky subpoena that, strikes gold and, she finds some evidence of a smear campaign somewhere.
I mean, just for, I don't think that's going to happen.
No, it's not.
It's crazy. It's crazy that she's spending this much money on this BS, like, in my opinion, claim.
I think she's being slightly encouraged. Not encouraged. I think from the legal perspective, what are the lawyers doing here? I think they're being driven by the client. The client is saying what they want. I don't think they're saying no. I don't think they're being as firm with her as they should be to say, look, we shouldn't be doing this. We're not gonna, have you got something more solid? They are charging her through the arse for all of this work, which has so far amounted to the grand total of nothing.
Yep. And this hearing for this subpoena for this firm is the same day, same time, like same Pacific time zone, both on Tuesday, 1:30. Both of these subpoenas are being heard. It's just like, oh man, the amount of money is astronomical. I just don't even understand. You have to, I guess, they're worth like 400 million, whatever. So this is nothing to them, but like,
but they're not going to be worth that at the end of all of this. You already went near it. They are, I mean, they had 7 lawyers at her deposition for 7 hours. These people are on $1,200 an hour.
At least
each. I mean, that's insane for one person.
Yeah.
I could understand it with Wayfair because there was all the Wayfair parties, or the vast majority of them were there, the individuals, and they each had a lawyer kind of with them. That makes sense to have that number of lawyers. This was just Blake Lively, and she still had all these lawyers surrounding her, and I have no idea why.
No.
Tiffany, no, there is no calling in.
We're gonna have CJ's gonna be there, and she delivers on her notes. So we're gonna get some good notes from her. And I don't know, like I've posted her updates when she was at the courthouse, like her stream and whatnot. So I don't know, like you can follow like her YouTube, or you can put notifications on, or you can follow her on X, you can follow me on X, you can follow Leanne on X. And we'll, but she did like a good reading of her notes last night. And so for those who like really want to feel like you're in the courtroom, that was awesome. She did such a good job.
Yeah, she did.
Yeah, Missy, she said, imagine all the good they could do with that money. No kidding. Like
donated to domestic violence charities.
Yeah, like, I mean, for example, like by my house, there's this like plot of land that was like attached to this house of this, like these people who are moving, and it's a lot of land, but they've had it like in the generation. So, but it's always been there, and it's always been like the animals, and now they're selling the whole thing. And I'm like, oh no, we're going to get a bunch of houses. And feel so bad for the animals. I was like, I wish there was something we could do. It's like, it's gonna be like a ton of money. And it is things like this, like these idiots are wasting this money on this stupid litigation for nothing. It doesn't even save her like reputation. Like do something worthy.
Christine, if you have to jump out, it's fine, honestly.
Yeah, I might have to get going soon too.
Yeah, I'm not going to be too much longer, but no, don't feel you have to stay, honestly. I appreciate what you do.
They haven't finished building their $10 million house in 8 years. They have a $10 million house?
Is that the one in California where she claimed that she lived in California?
Is it?
I don't know, but nothing would surprise me. Did you see that? She claimed that she was living in California in the Texas lawsuit.
In the Texas lawsuit, yeah.
Like, how did she not get a story straight?
I know, exactly. And then they ask her where like the filming was for the movie.
Yeah.
They were like onto her right away for the jurisdiction. In the deposition, that was the part that was posted, because she's like, says she didn't know, or it was like here and there, but there was supposed to be a scene in Vegas or something, and she didn't show up. And then New York, or sorry, not even New York. It was like New Jersey, and
it was New Jersey. I think some of it, she did say some of it was shot there was a bit of it was shot in California.
She said the house is in New York. This $10 million. Where are they building a $10 million house in New York? Like in the Hamptons or something?
Yeah. So and then we've covered those filings. it's been a mental week.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's fair to say this is, I mean, it is, like I say, it is getting quite hard to keep up. It's certainly getting hard to do threads on every single plan that comes out. It takes a long time to do threads, it really does. So we're going to be moving this show forward an hour, aren't we? So we're going to be doing it at 5 p.m. Eastern.
Yes.
So that's starting from next week.
Yes.
So just to let everyone know, like that there is that time change, but also I think I'm going to do live streams at 4 p.m. Eastern on Monday and Wednesday. Occasionally I might have a guest with me as well, but I think I'm going to try and do a couple, a fair few of them solos, because there was such great feedback yesterday. But it's getting to a point where I'm needing to read these in real time and answer the questions that people have got, where I can, there and then in the chat, rather than try to type. I don't know how you feel, because you do threads too. Like, it is quite a bit.
It has gotten insane because like I said, I was like hurting my hand because I just use my laptop to like highlight like some of these docs, and and I notate on the docs and then to type things up, and I was printing them, and I like have this huge stack of these, and I was like, some of them I'm just like, why did I read this? Like, why did I read her motion to compel, like for Jed Wallace, or or even like, why did I read her stupid Second Amendment complaint? Like, why did I read like some of these judges' rulings besides the one yesterday for Perez? I'm just like, why am I wasting my time reading some of this stuff? Like, her stuff is like so repetitive now. I'm just like sick of reading everything, like all of her motions to compel. It's just the same story over and over and over. But we kind of have to catch the things like you catched with this subpoena where they're saying, oh, her and other people on set were SH'd, or I don't know. It's crazy. But I do see the benefit of doing some of these live, so you don't have to do the thread. But then for the people who like the long form thread, I think for like some of the more important documents, it's still really important.
Yeah, it is. It is. I completely agree with that. I do agree with that. I like yesterday, it was quite easy to do, like on a judge's order or something. It's a lot easier to just go live. But on like a motion to dismiss or a response or an amended complaint or something, like you do need that in thread form as well, because you're also trying to get the document out there as well.
That's true.
And you got that limit of 4 pages.
I know, that's what makes it so hard. Like
it does, and like it's not just the screenshot of individual pages and everything, and then sitting there highlighting, and like with me, I've got to change color. What am I applying here, and what am I doing there? But it's also making sure you got the pages in the right order, because you can't just put them in. You can't click 4 pages and then get them put up, because then X rearranges them in different order.
Yeah.
So yeah, it can be quite wild.
I know, I've done that a few times where you click like 4 at a time and post them. Like totally, I was like, no.
And it doesn't let you to go back and edit.
Yeah.
Unless it's like the first post. Only that one can it be
of the thread. That's also the downside of this, because if there's a typo in one of the, and if it's not the first post of the thread, it's like, oh, you can't edit it.
No, I know.
It is annoying.
But yeah, so thank you again, as always. I love it when you join me. It's been we'll see what comes next week. Hopefully we'll have an interesting week. We're obviously going to have Perez's hearing, so that'll be interesting.
Yeah.
I might move, because normally I do like a historic crimes and trials thing with Cassidy on Tuesdays, but I might see if she'll move that to Wednesday and then do a live on the Tuesday after the hearing.
Yeah.
I might do that. I think because Cassidy, she may be inclined, if she's not busy, to join me on the live on Tuesday as well. I don't know. There's loads of people. I'm trying to get the bush birds as well.
Oh wow. Yeah, and they're great.
Aren't they?
Yeah, I think so. And well, I think next week it's definitely going to be a big week with Perez,
Yeah.
and then the same day is this subpoena in California for this PI firm. So we'll get like two big things on Tuesday and at the same time. And yeah, it's pretty exciting. I don't even
is.
know what would drop next week, but anytime we think it will be slow, it's not. So
No, just true. I've just had a response as well. So from the Bushbeds, actually, while I was talking about them, and they have said they would love to join me sometime. So I'm going to
that's so
try and
cool.
organise that, and that'll be cool.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Oh, they're so amazing.
Well, thank you so much, and thanks Christina and Lara for being mods and sticking around this long. And I hope everyone especially has a good weekend and the holiday weekend. And I will see you guys and see on CJ and I. We're gonna do a live stream. I think maybe she said tomorrow for the Nevada Shield Law. We got some good stuff for that.
Excellent. I'm going to try and get in the chat a little bit more. It's just you're so late when it's when you stream.
Yeah, we stream late, definitely, but
I will try to, because I made it into her live last night. I was really chuffed, but
oh yeah, that was so good. Yeah, definitely check that out, you guys, if you can. And yeah, thanks again, Leanne. I appreciate it, and I'm glad you're feeling better. And I will talk with you guys soon.
Yeah. Okay. Take care, everyone. Thank you for joining us, and don't forget the time change next week to 5 p.m. Eastern.
Yes.
But we will be posting and doing stuff anyway beforehand to remind everyone. But thank you very much. Thank you to Lara and Christina. I love you both very much and really appreciate you guys. Take care, and I will see you soon. Bye-bye, everyone.